America, President Donald Trump has been tweeting about Andrew Brunson, wishing him a safe trip as he returns to the United States. The pastor's detention has marked a tense time for bilateral relations. Let's get more on that from Doga Erlap. He's an expert in conflict resolution and a lecturer at the School of International Service at American University. Doga, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
What do you make of the timing of Brunson's release? I mean, he was under house arrest for 2 years. Why now?
Well, obviously, we can see this as a part of Turkey's overall recalibration of its foreign policy back towards the West once again. And one of the pillars of Turkey's reorientation of its foreign policy with the West is mending its already strained ties with the United States. And this is one of the many steps that Turkey could take. Obviously, the release of Pastor Brunson was long in the making, but only basically it's resolved today.
We keep hearing about a deal that the United States reached with Turkey for his release. Is part of that deal, perhaps, that he would be used as some kind of a bargaining chip for the extradition of Fethullah Gulen?
I don't think so. I think Turkey would use the release of Pastor Brunson in return for certain, let's say, compromise from the U.S. on Turkey's presence in northern Syria, vis-a-vis the town of Manbij in northern Syria.
Interesting. What about economic relief for Turkey?
Well, I mean, it's, let's see how the markets will react to the release of Pastor Brunson. Although seriously question the impact of this release on the US dollar-Turkish lira exchange rate, because Turkey's problems with the economy is much bigger than the strained relations with the US. It's more about Turkey's politics intervening in the economy management. So release of Pastor Brunson may be a sigh of relief, but it's not going to last long.
And the Turkish government had accused Brunson of having played a role in the 2016 failed coup in Turkey. Did they ever present any kind of evidence?
So it turns out when you look into the evidence that was provided, it was all a hoax. And many of the so-called witnesses...
A hoax? What do you mean? You mean like none
it was
of it was
fabricated, correct. So many of the so-called witnesses today denounced their earlier statements, saying they had no idea, they misunderstood the communication, they misrepresented, and it was all a big mistake. And for that matter, the state attorney ruled that there was no reason for the keeping pastor under house arrest any longer.
Well, we heard what Guy Henderson said, that the court actually convicted him.
Yeah.
They convicted him, but they said you've already served 2 years of your time, and the rest time served, you're free to go.
Yeah, so basically court ruled for 10 years in prison, but they gave the sentence at the lowest possible, which is like 3 years and 10 months. And since the pastor already served 2 years in prison for nothing, he's considered to have served his sentence, although it's not supported by any form of evidence.
Doa, let me move on to the case of Jamal Khashoggi. Really disturbing allegations coming from Turkish officials that they may have audio tape and videotape of his murder by the hands of Saudi agents. What do you make of that? How does the Brunson thing, how will that play into that, and the overall relationship between the U.S. and Turkey?
Well, I think we need to keep in mind that Turkey is now also signaling to the United States that Turkey also has its own intelligence apparatus in place. It's by itself, I think, remarkable that Turkish intelligence services intercepted the communication within a consulate compound. That by itself, I think, is an important point that we need to obviously talk more in detail. But if the allegations are correct, if the Turkish intelligence service has evidence, video and audio evidence of torture and the slaughter of the journalists, then that's a big scandal that would force the hand of White House to take necessary precautions in severing ties with Saudis. And even in a couple of days, there is an upcoming IT conference, if you had heard, in the West. It's called Davos in the desert, where all the IT companies in US would take part in meeting with Saudi investment officials.
Many have pulled out.
Yeah, so this already may have its own impact in the way US-Saudi relations will evolve. And Turkey obviously now signaling to the US that they would like better relations with the US.
We'll see what happens. Tragic story. Doga Erlap, thank you so much.